Funny enough, I never thought this would turn into a 3-part series, but I guess what lies in wait for us in the future is always unpredictable. We first started by introducing the theory. Then we took a deep dive with the help of a few experts to break it down and reach the conclusion. And after getting some valuable feedback from the experts and some comments from you guys, I decided that for part 3, we should narrow it down. Instead of trying to cover multiple games at the same time, let's focus on only one.
Oh, what the? Ah! Oi! Will, do you want to catch my arrow? Oh!
Hunt Showdown is a one-of-a-kind extraction shooter game that builds itself around a high-stake bounty hunting experience. Originally set in the muddy swamps of Louisiana's bayou, the game has now expanded to include the jagged mountains of Colorado. While it all taking place around 1895 to 1896, players are given the role of hunters to track down these godforsaken looking hellspawn while fending off other players who are trying to do the exact same thing. With a unique pool of consumables and tools that players can select from when making their loadouts before entering the game, and immersive in-game environments and period-accurate weapons, Hunt Showdown delivers a much more unique gameplay compared to a lot of other shooter titles today. And in this video, I'm going to show you why Hunt Showdown is a definition of unpredictability compared to every other shooter titles out there today. To briefly explain an average game of Hunt, there are 4 stages. Locating the monster, hence bounty, by investigating clues, kill and banish the bounty, wait for the banishing process to finish, and extract with the bounty. The players who have collected the bounty after they finish banishing are given what's called the Dark Side Boost, where they can see enemy hunters in Dark Side through walls for up to 150 meters and up to 5 seconds, therefore giving the defending side much more of an advantage. But you could argue as long as the attacking side don't make a move, as the whole point is to extract with the bounty, the attacking side has an advantage. Then it becomes a stalemate. So eventually one side will have to make a move, and that will normally be the attacking side. Now that you know how an average game should go, let's get into how Hunt Showdown incorporates unpredictability into the game, starting with the tools and consumables. The game provides you with a large selection of tools and consumables to assist your gameplay, and what we're going to look at especially is the deception category. First, the 3 types of decoys. One is a bag of scrap metals that you can throw, and when it connects with any surface like wall or floor, it will make a sound imitating a footstep. Another is called a blank fire decoy, where when you throw the object and it connects with any surface, instead of making a footstep, it makes a loud bang, imitating a gunshot. And the third kind, the decoy fuses, are literally sticks of small dynamites that basically deals no damage, but it sounds like a genuine dynamite when lit. It can also be used to break environments like wooden doors or windows. The reason why the first 2 types of decoy work so well is simply because this game has incredibly accurate audio. Unlike some other game, in high elo lobbies, players will even attempt to judge where their opponents are just from the sound and wallbands them. And because of how good the audio is, you can then use that to your advantage and disorientate your enemy by using decoys. Throwing the normal decoy to give them false information on your location and the number of players they're up against. Throwing the blank fire decoys can cover the sound of your footsteps if you time them correctly, or make it sound like someone else is coming from a distance. And the decoy fuses, when you light the fuses, the opponent will most likely try not to gamble with their life on whether or not you're throwing a decoy at them or a real dynamite. So you can use it to force someone out of cover, or force them to move and reveal the position. But there is technically a counter to that. In the game exists a trait, which is abilities you can purchase with points that can allow you to defuse anything thrown at you. Unfortunately, I'm going to be honest, I don't think I'll try and explain all the different abilities and combinations you can create with them, as if I do, this video will be half an hour long. And the whole idea of this video is to, again, bring the idea that this game represents unpredictability to the table. If you want to know more about this game and want to try it out, I recommend you to go watch channels like these, which are people who actually know what they're talking about. The other 2 tools within the deception category are the alert trip mine that shoots off fireworks and burns you when you walk through them. You can also set it up near explosive barrels, so when the trap triggers, it can also set off the barrels too. And at last, the chaos bomb, which is basically a decoy from CS2. You can actually use it like a decoy fuse to fake a nade, as it has a very long fuse duration, or to mask the sound of your footsteps while it's going off. There is actually one more tool that I would like to talk about that isn't within the deception category but has a lot of other usage, including deception: the choke bomb. This is the throwable that can be used to put out fires. This tool is normally used on players who, when they are knocked and someone decided to light the knocked body on fire. The body on fire will slowly lose health chunks, and every hunter have randomized amount and size of health chunks that represent how many times they can be revived. If all the health chunks are burned away, you can't be revived again unless your teammate is carrying a bounty. So it's always best to put out the fire as soon as possible by chucking the choke bomb on them. But this is not the only way to use the choke bomb. If you walk into the choke bomb clouds after it detonates, your characters will start coughing violently, thus exposing your position, and also makes it very difficult to shoot when you ADS. The choke bomb then becomes a good tool to counter unpredictable play. For example, when you're attacking a team holding a bounty inside a building, you can chuck a choke bomb in there and basically take away a good chunk of playable space from them. Because of this, the choke bomb is basically also a detection tool that can be used to detect your opponent's whereabouts or to confirm if a space is safe or not. However, it can also be used as a tool to set up unpredictable plays. When the choke bomb goes off, it is actually quite loud and it has a lasting duration of 2 minutes. Therefore, you can effectively use it to mask your footsteps, but you must be crouching. I assume we all know who Stewie 2K is, right? Yeah, you technically can pop a choke bomb and rush through it to kill the opponent, and ever since hipfire won't be viable if your ADS won't work. Sadly, I've never tried it, but I have a gut feeling someone else have done it before. So here comes the fun part. Because of the gunplay, which I'll get onto later, you can't be predictable to your enemy, so you can't have your enemy pay attention to you. You don't want attention? Then give them something they will pay attention to. And that is to create chaos. Those deception tools that I mentioned? Yeah, they will come in place perfectly. In fact, here's a few more options. The hive bomb. A jar of poisonous wasps. When it's thrown and the jar breaks, the hives will auto-seek the closest player within sight, including you. When they attack, they will deal poison and gradually damage the target. Plus, it is very loud when it's attacking a player. The hand crossbow, which is basically a mini crossbow for the secondary slot. You can carry 2 types of bolts at the same time, which includes poison cloud bolts, choke bolts, dragon breath bolts, and the newly added revive bolts. Choke bolts and poison cloud bolts can limit playable space and harass your enemy, and dragon breath bolt will cause burning if you hit the target, which can force him to stop the fire first before fighting you again. There's also a weapon called the hunting bow, where you can also carry different types of arrows. Most notably the concertina arrows and frag arrows. Concertina arrow basically stuffs an area with wild barbed wires on contact, and a frag bow is a grenade tied to your arrow that can be very annoying to deal with. So, other than shooting normal arrows or bows like a crossbow, the primitive weapons can also become a very good tool to force and deny enemy movements. Personally, I can't imagine dealing with more than 3 of any of those listed. So with teamwork, you can essentially lead the enemy towards wherever you want them to go if you apply those tools correctly. Or, I guess throwing whatever you got at your enemy all at once works as well. Now, let's move on to the more complicated stuff. Gunplay, which actually is almost entirely the reason why I'm talking about this game and what it has to do with unpredictability, as I was inspired from some comments that I read from the previous video. They mentioned unpredictability on a micro level instead of a macro level, and my first thought was, oh, Hunt Showdown is going to be perfect for this. But anyway, affected by the game's short TTK and snail-paced firing rates amongst almost all weapons, it becomes very unforgiving if you have bad aim. Well, of course you can combine abilities and specific weapons to create a spray and pray loadout, although it seems to be more viable nowadays with this newly added trait that increases hipfire accuracy. Spray and pray loadouts are commonly best for close range, as you can't ADS while firing fast, hence making it very debatable at mid range and irrelevant at long range.
Tiger, he's so low. He's really low.
Oh my god, this levering can't get. This levering is so bad! It shouldn't take more than 5 hits max to kill a player, no matter which weapon you use in this game, unless there are obstacles in the way, or depending on what type of bullets you're using. And because of this, players will tend to be more cautious with how they play. Therefore, like I mentioned before, predicting your opponent is the key to winning fights, so you have to be unpredictable. Another thing about gunplay in this game is covers are generally not safe. Well, most covers aren't. Unless you're behind a thick piece of wood or metal that are quite sizable, or stone covers. Other than that, almost everything else has penetrations too. And it also depends on what type of weapon you're using. Long ammo, hence large caliber rounds, has the highest penetration. It can even penetrate corners of a stone structure and thin metal covers. And from there is medium ammo and then small ammo, which has the worst penetration out of them all. But that could be changed too, depending on what type of ammo you're using. Piercing ammo trades off speed for higher penetration for all ammo types. Therefore, being constantly on the move is safer than staying still. And this then ties back to the application of those consumables and tools, as while moving around, you can use them to distract your opponents so they can't have an accurate read on your movements. Moving on. Let's finally look at the gunplay themselves, which obviously is where the skill gaps are. This game, in my opinion, has the hardest weapon sway to control. There are perks for reducing weapon sway for marksmen and snipers, but other than that, you'll have to do everything yourself. In theory, it should make flick shots harder to achieve, but I never really encountered much trouble with it. While the game also have both bullet drop and travel time, comparing the two, travel time has a much larger effect on the game, as that expands the trade window between you and the other player. For example, if you headshot a player but he's using a crossbow and he fires at the same time as you will still die less than a second later simply because it takes slightly longer for a crossbow bolt to travel. Therefore, sometimes achieving a trade will win you the game if you have a teammate and it's a 2v1, unless the other guy is a solo, who might self-revive if they have the necromancer trait. Me personally, I like to flick more than lining up, because having played other shooter games knowing I only need to hit the opponents on average 2 to 3 times or even 1 time to kill them, I treat almost all weapons in this game like a scout from CS2. Shoot and move immediately afterwards. Whether that's looking for cover, or trying to dodge the other player's return fire by air strafing. Moving immediately afterwards is pretty normalized in this game, and that becomes something you can exploit. For example, you're in a gunfight against another player who is in the building. They are shooting through a window, but what they are doing is shoot and they move away from the window and strafe back to shoot again. Sometimes if you wish to gamble on them missing a shot, which becomes a micro adjustment in your play that produces unpredictability, you get hit, but instead of running away, you stand still and hold where he will repeat. This is generally not recommended in a lot of shooter games, and of course in Hunt Showdown too. But because of the short TTK time, this can then put pressure on people. The thought's like, okay, I just need to land the next one, he'll be dead. I just need to hit it, please don't miss. Come in, there's a 50-50 chance they miss and you kill them instead with a headshot. The same scenario applies when you both tag each other. Okay, we just tagged each other. Maybe he won't expect me to re-peek or hold this angle, and they ended up trading, or one kill another. There's also the other version of that where one side who doesn't have the cover did not expect the opponent to re-peek and they ended up getting killed. Here are 3 points that I managed to narrow down to, which I thought are the keys to winning every fight in Hunt Showdown. How fast you can adapt to the situation and make instant decisions, movement, and map knowledge, hence how much you know about each compound on each map.
Yeah. Very risky, but I'm gonna show you. You go like this. I can fake nade, so he's not close. Like this. And from the edge you jump like this. Very cool jump, even he didn't expect it.
The first point being a fairly generalized one, as it is required in a lot of other shooter games too. However, what makes it worth mentioning here is because there aren't exactly set plays like CS2 in this game. Every time you attack a compound, the condition givens are always slightly different depending on how much monsters are around, if the bounty is already banished, what weapons the other players are using, and so on. For example, in this fight I'm about to show you here, where I went up against 2 players both holding one of the strongest weapons in the game, the aftermath, which can burst fire 3 long ammo at the same time. Here, me and my teammate started banishing the bounty, and I heard footsteps from the other side of the house. My teammate then gets ambushed, which is then when I realize one is already in and has an aftermath, so it's best if I don't trade shot against him when I have a sniper loadout with only my pistol being fairly viable at close range as I had fanning. So I crouched instantly to be quiet so they won't gouge my exact whereabouts. I threw a dynamite to deny the push and see if I can bait the other person to push me. Then, realizing my teammate is getting burned, I decided to throw a choke bomb to put him out quickly. I then went for the door, which is an aggressive gamble because I know they're currently split, hence I'll have a fighting chance when it's still 1v1. So I went for the other guy, not knowing he has an aftermath too. Winning the 1v1, I went outside to put distance between me and the other guy so I can reload somewhat safely. I then realized I actually missed the choke bomb and tried to put him out again, not knowing I ran out of choke bombs. So instead I decided to check if someone is holding the door by baiting a shot with a strafe. After now knowing where he is, I decided to go back to the window to see if he would try and revive his teammate, which sadly he did get a res off, and I tried to wallbang to see if I can re-knock the player. Re-peeking the doorway, seeing I didn't get shot, I decided to hold the angle to see if he will peek after I stand still, in which he didn't, so I went inside. Switched the bullet on my sniper from high velocity to bleeding, as I thought anything counts at this point, even a slim chance of me landing a no-scope. Cutting out some waiting part, from here, one of them actually made a move to go outside to see if he can sandwich me, so I made a decision to rotate to the door, while coincidentally the bounty finished vanishing. I airstrafed to get one of the bounty to get dark side boost to locate their exact location. I realized one Rapine is close, so I took a shot at them first, hoping to land the equilibrium kill, but that ended up not going well. I then prepared for the other guy to push me, which I judged from his audio, pre-fired the corner, and knowing the gun has a hard recoil to control, I decided to airstrafe and try and dodge as many bullets as I can to quickly re-peek and killing him. Afterwards, I sadly lost, since I had no heals left and the final swing was just another gamble again to land a headshot, which would have been the only way I could win. It's actually pretty difficult trying to describe a play as you can have so many variations depending on your surroundings and given the situations. So here's a clip taken from one of Rachtaz's video on decision making. He explained everything very clearly while making top players look like your average Joe.
Okay, that guy's running away. And then there is this trio here. They knew I peeked here. So I'll try something else. There we go. Didn't expect me to be there. Yeah, there is actually a window so you can peek. You can see the stairs. Yeah, I think they are resing. He ran to the body, stood still, so probably necromancer. Let's see if I'm right. Yep. Just predicted it based on his movement, you know. Nate. Yeah, look, I'll drop down here without taking fall damage. So they shouldn't know I'm down. He's moving, so probably not resing. I'll try to peek like this. He's not moving anymore. Nice. Sheriff has no idea. Ooh. Okay, we need to play this together. Try some wall banks. He's pushing. Okay, this guy's playing smart. He's pushing the other teammate. Not suicided, unfortunately. Now, I could revive, but I would lose the bar, so I'm gonna go revive this one, because it's safe. Instead of losing bar against this guy. He's gonna go here, try to res. Tagged him. Finished him. Nice. I had to play it safe. If I lose this 50 HP, maybe he will one-tap me. But yeah.
It's genuinely a bit sad to not see this game gain more in popularity. Considering how unique this game is, it honestly deserves more attention, but it seems the player base always have some problem with the balancing team of this game. And I say this game is also pretty toxic, considering that this is the first game I've ever played where I got people commenting on my profile calling me a nice person and I should live a long life. You know what, I have a gut feeling that I should probably stop talking now before I piss off even more Hunt players watching this video. But hey, at least I got my points out there, and plus I don't exactly have the time to dive too deep into this rabbit hole either. So, as always, thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch me babble on about the same topic for the third time. Like and subscribe if you want to see me make more similar content like this in the future, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
You're so bad.